week, but on the upper end of 7. That's like a new feature on Zoom. It's like recording in progress. It's always so awkward. And so that is kind of my first tip, right? In order to get the most growth, you have to be consistent no matter what. When I experienced the most growth on my Instagram, I was making, now don't start sweating or hop off the call, but I was posting one static post on my feed every day and at least one reel per day, sometimes 2. Okay. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do that works for you. I'm telling you that by me posting one static post and at least one reel a day, and then by me being able to really, there's also research data, whatever you want to call it, that says that the more you engage with your audience, the more Instagram will show your content. So because my reels were doing my expanding for me, I was able to really engage with and love on the people that were, engaging on my reels and on my content, which then in turn is what would help allow multiple reels at one time to go quote unquote viral. I wanted to also give you guys some numbers to kind of validate some of this for you too, that during the month of like mid-April to mid-May, my following doubled. So I had like a little over 20,000 followers. And I gained like 25,000 new followers in 1 month. 11 of my reels got over 1 million views and 2 of them got over 2 million views. And then I had a lot with like 500 to 700K. And I share that with you to tell you that these tips that I'm going to keep walking through, like there's nothing monumental about them. You will find that the key is consistency. And I think it's ironic that one of the primary struggle with social media for a lot of you is consistency. And it's super hard, especially when, Courtney, especially when we're talking about reels, it's super, super challenging for you to consistently and intentionally remind yourself that you're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your time by creating reels, even if they don't go. And when I say, I'm going to say viral in the sense of like viral for you, right? So if you have 500 followers and you have a reel that gets 1,200 views, the fact that that reel is reaching more eyes than the number of people that follow you, I consider that viral for me, right? So these numbers that I just shared with you, like that's viral for me. That doesn't have to be viral for you. And I think that is in itself, and that's kind of one of the things I'm going to talk about later, is you keeping your blinders on to knowing that, okay, if this reel is reaching more people than the number of people that actually follow me, then that's viral for me. Like it's reaching more people than that currently follow me and it's doing its job. And like I said, I think that is definitely like one of the most challenging things about staying consistent with the reels is really keeping your blinders on, and keeping your blinders on in 2 capacities. One, in the sense of content, and in knowing that what gets great traction on my Instagram is like really quirky, honestly pointless reels that I literally only make because they get great traction on my page. May not be what is viral for you. Like it may not be content that works for your audience, but you're never going to know what kind of content works for your audience if you don't consistently post long enough to give some of them a shot at reaching a lot of people, right? So my first tip, just to kind of circle back around, is I experienced the most growth when I was making one static post and one reel a day. Tip number 2, keep your blinders on. You guys know that we say in this business, right? Like the secret sauce is consistency and longevity. Staying consistent for long enough. Getting traction with your reels is no different. If you're posting reels and they're not getting traction and you're trying what somebody else is doing that's working and it's not working for you and you get discouraged and you get defeated and you feel frustrated and you stop, how is that a better alternative than you continuing to figure out what is going to work for you and to keep posting and sharing? Okay, so keep your blinders on and stop comparing your content to somebody else's or vice versa. And don't compare what viral for somebody else is for viral for you. My third tip is to pay attention to what your people like. Like I said, my reels that get the most traction are the ones, so here's the thing, the ones that I want to get the most traction are the ones where I like the post that I would pour my heart and soul into, I turned into a reel. Like people that follow me don't care about that. Although when I'm in the DMs with somebody, one of the things that they love most about my page is how inspirational I am. But those reels don't do anything for me. Like they don't catch any traction. But the ones that catch traction are like the simple, lighthearted, like viral sounded ones that I don't know, I'm able to just like put my personality and my spin on. But it's helped me see, like I've been able to understand what people who follow me like to see. They're really intrigued by the fact that I'm introverted, but also like outgoing on social media. And that's like a piece of my personality that I feel like I've always kind of kept to myself, because I don't know, I've always felt like I was kind of quirky, but not really funny. And Reels has kind of allowed me to showcase that part of my personality. I want you to think about it from this standpoint. I remember when I graduated college, and I was applying for all these jobs, right? And nobody would give me an interview because I was 21 years old, fresh out of college, and I didn't have 5 years of experience. And I remember like sitting there with my husband thinking, like telling him, if I could just get in the interview room, like if I could just get in a room with them, they wouldn't care how much experience I had. I know that they would hire me. That is what Reels has the ability to do, right? I want you to think about this. The way that you show up on your stories, right? The consistency that you show up with in your stories and the things that you share. I don't know about you guys, but I get like 97% of my business from my stories. Anybody else? Like, it does not come from feed posts. It comes from stories. Like, that's where people get to know, like, and trust you, through video. But we have to get people to our stories, right? And that is what I mean when I say that you're holding the key to reaching more people, is through Instagram Reels. And so I always like to think back to like when I had graduated college, and I was like, oh, they won't give me an interview because I don't have any experience, but I know that if I could just get in a room with them and I could talk to them, and I could, like, they could see, you know, how much I love this work, or how driven I am, or how smart I am, or whatever, I know that they would hire me. But you have to get in the room with them, right? Which is what Reels does. Reels brings people to your stories, where then you're able to really engage with them. My next tip is to understand that you can make a reel out of literally anything. And you can repurpose old content that you've already, you know, maybe you had a really vulnerable post that you posted like last month or the month before, and maybe it performed well, maybe it didn't, doesn't really matter, but it was a post that you feel like, you know, really connected with a lot of people, and you felt like it had a good message. Just recreate it in the version of a reel. Take the pressure off of yourself to feel like you have to consistently be creating brand new content over and over, and give yourself permission to play around with just recreating some of the content that you've already maybe created before. I just saw a question about batch creating reels, which is actually my next tip. So what I do is I do batch create, and here's what I do. I set a timer. My business lives off timers, period. Like, if I'm working through an IPA, if I'm working on a graphic, if I'm working on a training, the timer gets set, and if I'm not done when that timer goes off, it gets come back to later, right? It gets added onto my brain dump list for the next day, and I come back to it. So I set a timer every single Sunday for 15 minutes, and I scroll through Reels. Please set a timer if you're scrolling through Reels, or you will scroll through Reels for 45 minutes and you'll run out of time to make them. So I set a timer, I scroll through Reels, and it's kind of like, so if you've been a coach for more than like a second, you maybe have noticed how your brain like automatically thinks in terms of social media. So like if you're out somewhere with your family, or you're like, you know, whatever, you're probably like, oh, that would make like a great picture for a post, or this would make a great post, or that would make a great picture. So that's because you have trained your brain to think in that capacity, right? Because social media is your storefront. I promise you the same will happen if you train your brain to search for sounds and or ideas on Reels with this timer set. So I set a timer, and as I'm scrolling through, you can totally scroll TikTok. Yeah, I don't even have it. I had a TikTok a long time ago, and I don't even know my login anymore, so I just do Reels, but you can do either. I like doing it on Reels just because I can save the sounds directly there and save, you know, the videos and stuff. But you can search for Reels on your Instagram app, this bottom middle one right here. You can scroll through Reels that way. So I set a timer for 15 minutes. I scroll through Reels, and I just pay attention to sounds that I feel like I can, even if I don't know the idea right off the bat, if it's something that I feel like I could spin into an idea later, or if the context of, you know, whatever's on that reel, if I feel like I can put another sound over it later, and kind of recreate it, or, you know, whatever the case may be, I just save it. I don't overthink it in that moment. I'm working against a timer. I'm trying to save as many as possible so that I can come back to them. And I move on. And then every Monday, I set a timer for 45 minutes. So it's definitely like a little more of a time chunk here, and I just go through and I create as many reels as possible in 45 minutes. Ideally like getting through as many as possible, but of course, you know, some take longer than others, and you know, some take multiple takes and some don't. Just depends on what you're doing. So I don't allow myself to get wrapped up in creating content for 3 hours that then I run out of time to do everything else, and then I feel overwhelmed and frustrated, and I only got one reel made. So then guess what I do? I throw in the towel, I don't ever post it, and I don't do it again. Prevent that. Okay. So I'll go through and I'll batch create them. Pro tip: always save the reels that you make to the camera roll of your phone, as well as a draft in Instagram, because the moment you update your app or Instagram glitches, your drafts will be gone and you will lose 16 of them at one time, which happened to me last month. So I got put in Instagram jail for literally no reason. And all of my like 16 Instagram reels that I had saved in my drafts were gone. So, so save them to your camera roll, save them for later. And then if you have a point in time, you know, if you're looking at your tracker and I know a lot of people will think about their posts for the day, like at the start of the day or whenever you have that built in, then go into those record. And let me say this too. When I make a reel, like I record it, since I'm working against the timer, I do not spend time to like put the words over it, put the text over it, write the caption, nothing. I'm just like making it and go, making it and go. So then when I sit down to like plan what I want to post for the day, then I'll go in and I'll edit the reel and I'll write the caption and whatever. So that is that. So that's how I kind of batch create. I set a timer for 15 minutes on Sundays, scroll through reels and save. Timer for 45 minutes on Monday, create as many as possible, save to your phone, save to your drafts. My next tip is to use viral sounds. You do not have to use the like the same old concept that is being used with that sound, but I promise you the reels that I've done that have viral sounds attached to them do better. It's just an algorithm thing. You know, there's data behind that too. So that's just kind of another little tip. And then I saw this next tip kind of plays into Laura's question, which is not a silly question about would you wear different outfits? A lot of times, yes, I would literally just change my shirt, record the next reel, like flip my hair over or pull it up, change my shirt, make another reel. But some of them I don't. Some of them, like if I'm like really in a time crunch and I don't have like anything, you know, really planned or whatever, I'll just do them back to back, and I'll just try to make sure that I kind of space those posts out a little bit. But done is better than perfect. So however you need to do that, then do that. But my next tip that kind of goes hand in hand with that is I want you to think about this, and let me preface this with saying, I don't want this to come off as like I'm saying that you have to be like put together every time you do a reel. If that was the case, like none of us would be doing reels. Like, let's face it, we're business owners and moms and wives and dads and all the things. But I can make a post, not even a reel. I can make a static feed post that is like the most like vulnerable, pour my heart and soul out into the caption post, and more people will ask me where I got my workout tights or what color lip stain I have on before they even read the caption. Like, let's be honest, right? So whenever I'm doing my reels, same is true. People, more so than what they even care about is happening in the reel, they're like, do you have hair extensions? What is that lip color? What eyeshadow palette are you wearing? Where did you get that top from? Where are those leggings from? So think about that sometimes when you're creating reels from like a marketing perspective. How can you force conversation with people who are watching, right? Like I said, I am not saying that you have to be like dressed to the nines every time you do a reel, but just get creative with like how you can force people to reach out and ask you questions, regardless of whether it has something to do with that reel or not. So let me recap those tips really quickly. My most growth happened when I was making a static post and a reel post a day, sometimes two. Pay attention to what your people like to see. Give yourself permission to recreate your content. Literally anything can be made into a reel. A couple weeks ago, I was going to make a post about, I get a lot of questions about personal development and stuff since I share that on my stories really often. I was going to make a post about like my top personal development books. And I was like, wait, I'll just record a quick reel from this. It got 36,000 views, which is not viral for me because I have more followers than that, but I can guarantee you if I made a static post of me like holding my favorite books, it would have reached like 200 people, right? So you have to think about it in comparison to like the alternative. Batch create your content, use viral sounds, pay attention to like lighting, things from a marketing perspective, like things that are going to draw people in. And the most important tip is to keep your blinders on as far as content and what viral for you is considered. I think that's my biggest tip, because I feel like that will paralyze you from continuing to make reels and move forward. I'm going to glance at the chat really quick, and then I have 5 kind of common objections, or whatever you want to call them, with reels. I don't know if you can search for specific sounds, or, well, you can search for specific sounds, like if you know the name of a sound that you're looking for, like if you know the exact name of it, you can search for it in the audio when you're creating a reel. Pro tip though, if you like, maybe you heard a sound somewhere and you like have no idea what the name of it is and you can't find where you saved it, or maybe you didn't save it at all, 9.5 times out of 10, if there's a sound like that, I'm just going to use a random example, but if there's a sound like that and I have no idea what it's called or where to find it, I will go to Google and I will type in like TikTok or reel sound that has barking dog and horn. I don't know, super random. I see a dog in Lauren's lap, so it's just what came out. But you can almost always either find a video that is that, because it's viral, right? And you can grab the sound off of it, or you can, get the name and put it in Reels or whatever, but you can almost always find what you're looking for if you just do a quick Google search. Absolutely reuse music that has worked well for you before. Save them for later. Batch creating, outfit. Okay, so Sophie, your question about posting reels to feed kind of goes hand in hand with, I think, yeah, Aaron asked down here, edited cover photos. So no, I don't have time for that. I know that that's like a big thing about Instagram though, is like we're trying to like kind of sort of, I'm not on the train of like we totally don't care about aesthetics on Instagram. Like I don't think that we're there yet. But I do appreciate a feed that looks less posed than, like, I still want it to be like aesthetically pleasing, as in the sense of like not all my pictures are taken in like a dungeon kind of a thing. Like I want it to be well lit and bright, and I want it to look inviting. But I am more attracted to pages that look just more like real and natural. And so for me, I have always, with social media, I feel like, how many of you either have like a really good post written up in the notes section of your phone, but you don't have a picture to post with it, or vice versa, right? That's always been me. I've always like, oh, I have something I want to say or something I want to share, but I don't have a picture. So the fact that I'm already spending 45 minutes, essentially an hour, if you count my intentional scrolling on Sunday, creating reels, I am not about to spend time taking pictures when I already don't have pictures to post, like on my, like with a static post on my feed. So I just try to like do my best with a quick screen grab of the video. That's just my personal preference. I know there are lots of people on Instagram who like have beautiful cover photos with like the title of what the reel is, and I'm like, I just don't have time for that. So I would say decide what you have time for, and know that like getting the reel out and posted and spending time there, for me, is more valuable and more important than making sure you have a cover photo or you're not going to post it at all, kind of a thing. Reels also just came out with insights. So I don't know that everybody has that capability yet, but be on the lookout for that. My content is almost never fitness focused. I love presets. I use them on all my photos, Laura, in Lightroom. My content is almost never fitness focused. So my approach with reels is to get people to like watch one of my reels or come across one of my reels and be like, oh, she's kind of funny. She's kind of, like I would hang out with her. And then because they start watching my stories, and I do like, something Courtney and I were kind of talking about earlier that we can dive a little bit deeper into is, when people come to my page, I want them to see that I am on a health and fitness journey, right? And that I am doing something that they can be a part of. So like you know, by all stretch of the, like when you go to my Instagram feed, I have a fitness post here, I have a transformation photo here. Like in the midst of the other things, I still want people to know that I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm on a health and fitness journey, and that it's something that they can be a part of. But those posts are not going to bring them to my page, right? Remember, I need to get them to my page so then they can see those other posts that I've written, and they will watch my stories every single day, right? I know you guys have Erin and Courtney as your leaders. You see it, morning routine, exactly what they're doing, exactly why they're doing it, that they're a part of this thing called the sisterhood, and that you can do it too. But we have to get them there to see that content, okay? Now, for other people, fitness-focused things work really well. Like I've been working really closely lately with Kelsey Hill. Her fitness content, like her reels where it's like a fitness challenge, try this, like here's a leg workout thing, that works great for her audience. Like she grew her following creating those type of fitness things. It just doesn't really work for my niche and my people. Like I have tried, I even have a whole guide, you know, like when Instagram came out with that guide feature, I created a whole guide of like at-home workout things and fitness things, and it's just like a total flop for me every time. So like I said, once people get there and they can see it, it's valuable, but it doesn't really work for me as far as attracting new people. Okay, so the 5 kind of common things that I hear specifically from my coaches, my team, as to why they're not doing reels. My question for you guys now in the chat is, if you are posting reels, how many a week on average, doesn't have to be exact, are you posting? And if you're not posting reels right now, why? I would imagine that response is probably because you don't know what to post. One a day. Oh, y'all are doing a Reels challenge, aren't you? 7 painful days in a row. Oh, nine. Okay, look at all of you doing the Reels challenge. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, for those of you that are doing 1 a day or 7 a week, how many weeks have you been doing that? 1 a day? None, not at all. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know what to post. 3 weeks. Okay, cool. Okay, so here's what I want to touch on. One of the most common reasons why I think we stop posting reels or we don't post them is because it's not working for you, right? Like you haven't had a reel go viral for you. So you're like, what the hell am I even doing? Why am I wasting my time creating reels? It's not even that fun for me. And the fact that they're not getting traction makes it even less fun, right? So after your 30-day reel challenge is over, you're probably like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm only doing this because I committed to this challenge. Here's what I need. I need you to like, here, I'm going to type it in the chat. I need you to write this down. Instagram says that you are holding the key to reaching more people by doing reels. So put the blinders on. Don't give a crap how well your reels right now are not performing, and stay consistent for long enough. This is no different than a newer coach missing Success Club their first month. This is no different than a newer coach or a coach dropping diamond or dropping out of Star Diamond Fall or whatever the case may be. If I remember so vividly, it was my first month of like going all in as a coach, right? I was about a year being signed up and I was like, okay, I'm doing the dang thing. It was the last day of the month. There were 3 minutes left until the 11:59 Eastern cutoff time. And I had 4 Success Club points. And my husband was already asleep in bed. I went into the bedroom and I sat down on the floor beside the bed and I just started sobbing. And he like wakes up, the TV was on, he like wakes up and he looks over and he's like, are you good? Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I was supposed to hit Success Club. It's what they say you're supposed to do if you want to be successful. And I only helped 2 people and I'm supposed to help 3. And nobody out there loves this as much as me. I'm not ever going to find anybody that loves these programs as much as me. Nobody's going to love this business as much as me. And although looking back, it was severely dramatic, right? That was my reality in that moment. But here were my options, right? And it doesn't matter if you find yourself in that position or if you've been there, or if maybe you're pushing for diamond or Star Diamond or whatever. It doesn't matter where you're at. It is a reality through all the ebbs and flows of this business. My 2 choices in that moment were what? To pick my head up, get in bed, go to sleep, and start the next day, a fresh month, new opportunity to help 3 people, or to what? Quit, right? So in those moments, you have to ask yourself this, like I always say, am I willing to be the Beth that I was before I became a coach? The answer is always no. The answer is never yes. I am never willing to be the person that I was before I became a coach. So my options are get your ass up and keep going, or you quit. Like, which one are you willing to do? You have to think about, I know it's really hard, you guys, because you see Reels as like a small piece of your whole business and all these other moving parts that you could be spending more time on. You need to spend time here. In order for you to reach more people, to help more people, to be able to spend your time connecting on and loving on and building relationships with people, you need to be bringing people to your storefront. Okay, so put your blinders on and think about it in as dramatic of a situation as you would if you're like on the verge of missing Success Club or dropping rank or whatever. You either keep going or you don't. Just because this isn't working for you right now, don't stop, because your only options are to stop, and then guess what? It's really not going to work for you. Or you keep going and it will work for you at some point. Okay. The second thing is, I kind of already touched on this too, that you think your time is better spent elsewhere. It's not. I hope that we have like already hit that home. Your time is not better spent anywhere else. I promise you that there is I want you to think about, if you're struggling to bring people to your page, like if you feel like, okay, I'm told that I need to go to my stories, I need to look at all my story viewers, I need to go to their pages and love on them and connect with them, but the same 3 people are watching my stories every single day. I need new people. I want you to like close your eyes and think about what it would feel like to be able to click on that story viewer button every single day, and just like your people are sitting at the table. And you get to connect with them, and you get to love on them, and you get to invite them, and then you get them in your group, and then they're on your team. Like, what would it feel like to never feel like you're searching for and feeling defeated, in the sense of like, there's nobody, I know everybody has felt like me at one point with, like, there's nobody out there who's going to love this as much as me, right? Like, where are my Beths? Where are my Aarons? Where are my Courtneys? Where are they? But they are out there, right? I want you to think about how it would feel to always have women sitting at your table, men sitting at your table that you can connect with and love on and invite to this opportunity, right? So your time is not better spent anywhere else. Number 3, I don't know how to use Reels. It's too complicated. Here's a little tough love for you guys. You are a business owner with a free storefront platform. Learn how to use Reels. YouTube that shit, seriously. Like, literally everything I have ever learned about, like, how to move the text around, or how to make it pop up in a certain place, or how to put my voice over a sound or whatever, YouTube it, Google it. Do not leverage that as an excuse to not do Reels. You're a business owner with a free storefront platform. Figure it out. GTS, right? The 4th excuse is that you're not comfortable on camera. Guys, action breeds confidence. Just do it. Just like with anything else, you just do it. Just talk to the people and you will get more comfortable doing it. And then another thing that I hear a lot is that you feel like, not necessarily that your Reels have to be perfect, but that they have to be like, oh yeah, Google that shit, sorry. That they have to be, so in some capacity perfect, or in some realm of being perfect, or you're just not going to post it at all, right? Whether that's a post or a reel or whatever. What I want you to remember about this business is that it is a relationship business, and I like to spell it like this: relationship, right? People do not connect with people who have all of their shit together and who are perfect, right? So eliminate that excuse, like right out of the gate. Do your best, and know that with time, just like with anything else, you will get more comfortable creating Reels. You will gain more confidence in creating Reels. You'll figure out what works for you, what doesn't, what people like, what they don't. And regardless of the outcome, I think this is important with any area of our business, right? Is that we have to remember that every outcome has a process that precedes it, right? Like every single outcome, whether it be good or bad, has a process or a journey that helped dictate what that outcome was going to be. And if you focus on that, and if you focus on the confidence that you're going to gain in the process and the joy that you're going to find in sharing, maybe it's not like, super deep, vulnerable, long written posts about how far you've come in your journey. Maybe what lights you up and brings you joy is like, I don't know, something totally different that can attract people to you. So then you can share your heart with them once they're there. Right. So I know I talked for a really long time, but do you guys have any specific, I feel like I grabbed most of comments from family members. Oh yeah. So Jennifer mentioned, Teresa, that's good. Relationships equals real relationships. I love that. I'm gonna have to use that. I felt like with Reels, I'm starting over again with the judgments I received when I first started coaching, the comments. So Jennifer, I want you to really dig deep and remind yourself, remember exactly what you did when you started coaching to overcome that fear, right? And to kind of push past and push through those types of judgments and stuff, and just do it again. Like, you've done it once, you can do it again. Put your blinders on and don't look back.
Wow, Beth, you are absolutely incredible. Like, you just have so much value. You are such an incredible coach and such an incredible person to come on and share so much with our team. I gotta say, I think we're on like day 22 of the Reels challenge, and I'm struggling, so this like totally reinvigorated me and gave me new purpose to put my head down and really make it happen. One of my questions, I feel like you kind of answered. I'm trying to post to my niche, but then when they come to my page, it just looks like a bunch of random reels. And I think you really answered that by saying that you are actually posting a post on your grid as well, so that those things are sprinkled throughout. So, so many of our questions are actually just answered by action that you're taking, which is really, really inspiring to see. I did have one question specifically about how you go through your story viewers. I know for anybody that's been coaching a while, and I'm sure you have thousands of people watching your stories, like, that task to me feels very daunting because it's so many coaches, and I'm sure you have a ton of coaches watching you. Do you have a method? How do you sort of navigate through that?
So there's probably a more effective method than what I use. So I set a timer. I spend the most time out of all of my IPAs. This is where I spend the majority of my time. Like, I would say that I spend minimum 2 hours a day going through story viewers, separate pockets, 1 hour pockets twice a day. Sometimes 45 minutes depending on the day, but it's a very intentional time because that's where my business comes from, is my story viewers. So I first of all feel like I really had to get to a point where I just, like, before I even went into my story viewers, I was like, I had to like remind myself, like almost meditate on it. You're not going to get through all of them. Don't feel like you have to know exactly where you left off and exactly where to pick up, because that part, to me, the overwhelm of like so many story, which is a great problem to have, like so many story viewers, but like you have to get through them, you have to know where you stopped, but then like the list change and all the things would prevent me from even going in there and doing it. So I am like literally super speed. And for me, I'm able to work a little bit quicker because of like that example message that I said that I send of like, genuinely thank you for being here, all the things. I at this point, that is the message that gets sent to my story viewers. I don't spend the time right now at this point in my business. Now, 3 months ago I did, but right now I do not like go into a story viewer, click on their page, go to their profile, click on a thing, love on this, go here, do that. I don't do that at this point. I will literally I'll click on the viewers, I'll click on their profile. If I can quickly tell that they're a coach, or of course, if I can recognize the name if it's somebody that I know, but if I don't recognize their name, I click on their profile. If they're a coach, move on to the next, move on to the next. The second I come across somebody who's not a coach, I go back to the story viewer thing, I hit the arrow, copy, paste my message, go to the next. So my goal is like, even if it accidentally gets sent to a coach, I like, thank you for being here regardless, right? So, and I think that is the key, is like finding a way to connect with your viewers that feels authentic to you, but that also is impactful as far as your efficiency is concerned, right? Because like I said, if you're watching my stories, I really feel like you're opening up the door for me to have a conversation with you. I want to thank you for being here. I want you to know that I don't take it lightly. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you, let me know. And that almost always opens up the gate for some type of a conversation moving forward, which gets them into my DMs, which is where I can really invite them, follow up with them, love on them, see what they need, how I can serve them. So for me, it's like a very, I guess, a multiple fold process is going into it knowing that I'm not going to get through everybody, and that's okay. I'm just going to do the best that I can. And then a very quick sort through of like, are you a coach? No. Okay, here's the message. Are you a coach? Okay, no, here's the message, kind of a thing.
While you're coughing, I'll just follow that up. Like, are you going to see if you've messaged them before? Because if you're using the arrow, you wouldn't see that. You are.
Yeah. So like, let me show you. I'm ready to coffee. Muted. I'll go through, click on their name, click on message, and then go back to the arrow. Can you see? Can you guys see this? So like I'll click on their name, click on message. Let's pretend like I haven't messaged them. Obviously, I'm following up with her until she blocks me, guys. Go back here. And then I always send it with the arrow because it attaches my story to it. And I want them to know that I see them watching my stories.
Beth, can I ask you what your niche is? I know that we talk a lot. I hope it's okay. I'm talking over your cough, just buying you some. Oh.
You're good. Keep going.
Yeah. You know, we talk a lot about like finding your niche. If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to nobody. And I think that, you know, a lot of us are trying to get closer to who we are really speaking to. But I feel like your reels, since they're using a lot of the popular voiceovers and stuff like that, like that's speaking to everyone, right? Do you think about that or not at all?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, so I would say that I'm definitely not the expert on niche. I will say that I feel like my reels have a pretty general theme around mom life, being introverted, and or like hair and makeup stuff. I don't feel like that's a super specific niche, and I will say that that is something that I feel like I have kind of always not struggled with, but something that I feel like it's very easy for us to convince ourselves that we're not ever specific enough. But I don't know. I feel like by me kind of hitting those kind of key pieces of who I am, like I'm introverted, I'm into hair and makeup, and I'm a mom, and I'm like kind of quirky, not really funny, but I try to be.
I love that. And I do think that's specific. I think introvert does nail that. It carries a common theme throughout them. And I think that that's key and important.
Yeah, but that is just kind of like when I think through what I feel like really does perform the best, and and like attracting people that are converting to challengers and coaches, it's that type of those like kind of specific areas for me. So but I will also say that I feel like I kind of whittled that down just by doing, you know, like for example, the introvert thing of me is something that I feel like I've always kind of hidden behind, you know, like a lot of people don't believe me that I'm super introverted just because I'm so open, like on my stories and stuff. And so I almost like allowed other people to convince me that maybe I wasn't. It sounds so silly, right? But it was just like a piece of me that I kind of just kept, tucked away. And I started doing like introvert reels, and the first few didn't perform very well, but I found that I had fun making them, and I was like laughing at myself, and it was just fun, right? And I think that that's something to pay attention to, is like people are going to be attracted to what you're finding joy in also. So, you know, just because you're doing something that you feel like speaks to your niche, or like really speaks to who you are, what you love to share, and it's not performing well, just keep doing it and find joy in it, and people will be attracted to that in some capacity at some point. But you just have to stay consistent for long enough. And then to kind of go back before my coughing fit, I think you're totally right with you don't want to get, I have felt like that there have been kind of little ebbs and flows of my reels journey where I'll look at my feed and I'm like, okay, my past 4 posts were reels that like had no value. They were just like little silly things that I did. And but I think that we also need to rely on the fact that when you go to my profile, it's very obvious from my bio that I do something that you can be a part of, right? that I help women on a health and fitness journey, specifically moms, cultivate confidence by mastering their mindset and finding freedom in fitness. So I think having confidence in knowing that your bio will speak for itself and that your stories, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I find somebody new on Instagram, if they have a circle around their picture up there, I'm watching their stories. And so knowing that you have those static posts kind of sprinkled throughout, that's going to like take them down a rabbit hole. They're going to watch your stories and then see from your bio, watch your stories. And, you know, if they're your people, then they will be attracted to that regardless. And so, so I think just kind of having confidence in like all of the moving pieces of what your Instagram is, not getting so wrapped up in that kind of aesthetics piece of it. But like whenever I looked at my grid and I was like, okay, I have like 4, I didn't really love the way that it felt that my last 4 posts were like lighthearted, funny reels. Like I love sharing my heart, right? So then it was like, okay, I need to like take a step back and like focus on this type of content at the same time. So I think it's just important to kind of pay attention to how you feel about the content that you're sharing and creating, and just try to think about it from like a more overarching perspective of like, okay, I just need to get them to my page, and then they'll see these other posts and they'll watch my stories and they'll read my bio. They know, because of how consistent you are, they will know exactly what you're about. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just having confidence in that and finding joy in that process that's going to get you to, you know, the outcome, which essentially, when we're talking about reels, is the growth, the reaching new people that, you know, we are hopeful to reach and to see.
You are incredible.
You're so sweet. I do hashtags. I just saw that question. That is, you know, I feel like kind of like with our children, we have to pick our battles. So like with social media, you can do like all the things, and I just feel like the lack of all the things with hashtags that I've ever like seen. I don't search hashtags. I don't use hashtags. I don't like, it is just like something's got to give, and that has been hashtags for me. So if hashtags work great for a lot of people, just not for me personally.
You're not putting a single hashtag on those reels that are going viral? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. I don't use hashtags on posts either. I don't know. Y'all are probably telling them to do this, and I'm like, no, I don't do it. That's just what works for me. It just does, like, they've never really worked great for me. I personally don't like search them or use them. So it's just something that I like have not taken the time and spent the time to learn and do. So I've dabbled in it every now and then. Like, I'm like, okay, I have all these notes in my phone, and these are my hashtags for this and for this and for this. And I'll do it a couple times. And then I'm just like, you know what? If I get to a point where I don't know, if I don't truly, and like I said, I get all of my like Instagram stuff from Brock Johnson, and he himself has even said like hashtags are not gonna like make or break your account, like doing reels or not doing reels will. So I'm like, okay, something's gotta give, it's gonna be hashtags for me. So
super, super cool. Honestly, making connections is such, I think, like tumultuous part of coaching and having a business on Instagram for so many people, that just you even coming on and really drilling home the fact that reels can do that for you, and that it is in your fingertips. I think that's so much value. So thank you so much for your tips, and I appreciate you coming through the thick of your sickness with your babe, and congrats on number 2. We really appreciate you, Beth.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we'll stick on and do recognition, guys. But Beth, thank you so much again. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Wow. Hated reels before the call, and that was like a slap in the face. Like, get over your dang self and do the fucking job, right? Like, for real. I also hate making connections, so pick your battle. I choose reels. So I am going to flip my script and suck it up, buttercup, and try to use the timer method. I think there's a lot of people that can get stuck in this scroll, myself included. Like, sometimes I even just feel like I'm not finding good ones. It's not that I'm interested and want to keep watching. I'm just not finding good ones. So I'm going to try the method. And Sophie, you saying like your reels are so good. Like, you know, that is this business, guys. You think somebody else is like nailing it, and they're behind their phone being like, I can't post. You know, truly, you are not alone. It is hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and create content and find your niche and use hashtags and post and, you know, do what you can with the time you have. Just decide how much time you're willing to put into this business. Make Reels a part of it. Dig out. If you're spending 2 hours a day on this business or 1 hour a day on this business, make 15 minutes Reels. Make 30 minutes connections. You know, like something's gotta give, but this is a really, really great tip from her that it is doing the connections for you. Let's do some recognition, guys.
I'll go. I don't think my coach, Stacy, is on, but I just had a call before this with her and her new coach, Kina. Stacy's only been coaching for like 6 weeks, and then she has already onboarded a coach. They are starting a community together and getting started with baby steps, which I think are not going to be baby steps really long, but I'm super excited for them.
I just wanted to welcome one of my new coaches, Sid. I think I saw you on the call. Welcome to your first team call. So excited to have you here. She's been a challenge in our community, absolutely crushing it. And I have an exciting shout out for a very dear friend of mine. Chelsea, you have been beside me since day one of starting this business. One of my first clients turned VIPs, turned to a working coach. And you have just been hustling, and she is going Emerald tomorrow. And I'm so proud of you. And I just can't wait to see what you do with this.
I like to go. I like to give a huge shout out to one of my coaches, Mairead, who just hit Emerald this week during her first month. And she told me that her goal was to hit Emerald within her first month, and she didn't. She's been nailing it. She's been showing up every single day, and she's absolutely incredible. She owns her own dental practice. She has 3 kids, so she's a super busy mom, super busy entrepreneur. And yeah, I'm so excited for you, Mairead, and I can't wait for you to keep going with this.
I'll go next. Kayla Reimer deserves a huge shout out. Kayla just finished up the May mentorship. She's showing up on social media so well. She hit Success Club in her first month. She's going Emerald tomorrow. She started her very own free group on Bog Groups, completely on her own, just opened it up, did the things, is starting with it this week. I'm just so proud of you, Kayla. Keep it up, girl.
I'll go. I just want to give a shout out to Steph. She's one of my new coaches, and she is here tonight. So her first call with the sisterhood. We're really glad to have you here, Steph.
So incredible. I want to thank Erin for doing most of the grunt work on the Summer Strong sale that is going tomorrow and Friday. Really appreciate your time in Canva and scheduling for the entire downline to do that. And I just wanted to say way to go to all you guys, because that group had 1.4 thousand people in it, and now it's got 2.2. So we all added 600-800 people to that group in the past week, which is absolutely incredible. It is not too late. The sale has not even started. So if you're I'm behind the 8 ball, print out your customer list, go through one by one and send them all a message, making sure that they're aware of the sale, that they're in the sale. Send the link to the group, whatever you got to do. You are not too late. All the packages are going to go live tomorrow morning, and then they have 2 entire days to pop into that group. We've made it so simple this time, guys. There's only 3 posts. Instead of having to scroll through the entire feed, everything is organized into 3 posts and then the free ones. So yeah, should be super, super simple. And it's a huge opportunity for you to have an incredible volume week. So start thinking like a business owner and taking advantage of all these types of opportunities. Yeah, Erin, did you have anything? All right, guys.
No, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the sale. Like, really, it is what you make it. And just like putting up the story on your social media isn't enough. Invite your people to it. Talk to them about it. Talk to your clients. Talk to your prospects. Like, the more, I say it all the time, your energy will sell this. So the more excited you are about it, the more excited your people will be about it too. And doing these things twice a year really helps to kind of build momentum, get excitement in your business. So yeah, I'm pumped. It's going to be fun tomorrow.
All right, guys, let's go make some reels. Have a great night.